What's up, tea drinkers? Who's ready to spill? Welcome to The Tea with KG, hosted by your girl, Kaylee Grace. Here you'll find your weekly boost of real talk mixed with laughter, healing, and all of those vulnerable, messy moments in between. The Tea with KG is a safe space for you to show up exactly as you are. We are here to share real-life stories from around the globe and be a community of love, joy, and celebrating life. This is a real deal show, so there will be coarse language and sensitive topics discussed. The most beautiful stories oftentimes emerge from the darkest of places, and we're here to explore it all. There's room for everyone at this tea time, so grab your drink of choice, spark it up, or just relax and soak it up. Cheers, and let's spill. What's up, tea drinkers? We are back with another episode of The Tea with KG. I'm your host, Kaylee Grace, and I have another amazing guest joining me this week, the amazing Joey Dignam. Whoop, whoop.
Ooh, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to have this chat with you.
I'm so excited. And anyone who's listening, not watching, Joey is wearing the iconic Ginger Spice sweatshirt right now. That is both of our Spice Girls. We bonded over
Right.
that so hard.
So hard. Not for the first time either.
No, we love some ginger. So we're going to be channeling her iconic Leo energy today
Yes,
because
we are.
that's what's up.
That's right. I'm almost a Leo. I'm a day off. I'm a
You're on the
Cancer, but
cusp.
I'm a day off. Yeah.
You've got beautiful emotions, but I feel like that confidence you pull from that too,
Yep.
from the
I
Leo.
just I just recently looked up my moon and my sun or whatever, and
And
I'm like a double Cancer. So
oh,
a
yes,
lot of and my partner would
water.
be like, yeah, that makes
hmm
sense. There's a
So
lot of
what?
flowing emotions there.
Yeah. So what's your moon and your rising?
My rising is Cancer, and my moon, I think, is it's either Pisces or Aries.
That's
So,
so funny because I'm a Taurus sun, Pisces moon, Cancer rising. So also
okay,
one with the feels.
there it is. That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. No, not at all. It's like it's so funny because I don't have any fire in my chart, which I found weird, but I have a lot of Gemini in my chart too. I've got some Capricorn, Scorpio. There's like some other things in there, but it's like a lot of air, water, earth, no fire. It's
Yeah,
weird.
that surprises me a little
I
bit.
know. I know. Everyone
Yeah,
says that.
yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, this is going to be such an amazing episode. I am so grateful to you for joining us. Joey's going to be sharing a very vulnerable story with us, and I'm just really honored that you're allowing me to share that on this platform because it's going to be
Of
amazing.
course.
Yay. All right. So, we're going to start with the good old who are you and what do you do?
Okay, so uh, like you said in your really beautiful introduction, my name is Joey. I am, gosh, I wrote down a few things, a few adjectives, I guess. So I'm a dad. I
Mhm.
have two daughters. Their names are Rowan and Phoebe. They're 10 and 7.
So
Um,
cute.
I am a partner to Robert, and he
Mhm.
lives a couple of hours away from me because he's in school, and we are
Aw.
we are going through it right now with this adjustment to being back to
Yeah.
school.
Well, yeah, because you guys are together so often. So, that would definitely
hmm
be an adjustment.
I am also a therapist.
Mhm.
So my day job, I'm a clinical social worker, and I do therapy in private practice. So I am a gay man, which is going to be a big part of what we're going to talk about today and my journey to owning my truth.
Yes.
I I also I wrote I am a Spice Girls and Beyonce fanatic,
Yes.
so that's already established. I'm also going to Halifax tomorrow night because there's a bar there that's having a Beyonce drag night.
Shut
So
up. Oh
no,
my
I know.
god.
It's funny. I was telling someone about this week, and my youngest daughter Phoebe was like, "Are there two things that are more dad than drag and Beyonce?"
She knows you well.
She does know me well. Yeah, she
That's
does.
amazing.
I I've been forcing them to watch. I think I have them bought in. I've been watching Drag Race with them.
Oh my
Um,
god. My
but
favorite.
here's the thing. It's not super kid appropriate,
I
but
know, right?
I also don't really have a lot of gay friends, so it's like, you know what? I'm just gonna use my kids to fill that void. It's fine, right?
Yes. And you know what? I honestly, so many kids do watch that show. Like, I'm
They do.
thinking right now, season 6, Bianca Del Rio in the audience. Like, I don't know how the little girl was related, but
Yep.
I think it's
Yeah.
so, and I think it's key for kids to watch stuff like that because it just like anyone doesn't even have to be a child. It is
Yep.
so eye-opening, and like that show to me, everyone's like, "Oh, here she goes talking about Drag
Let
Race
it out.
again."
Let it out.
But
Come on.
it is just the perfect combination of all of the art you could ever want to see: dance, fashion, acting, everything, singing, all the things. And then also, it's the stories for me, which obviously people listening are like, no, duh, she loves the stories. But
Yeah.
I am brought to tears. I have had some of the most inspirational moments from that show that have helped me keep going. And I'm just like, that is the most beautiful thing. And it's so colorful too. So,
It's so, and you know what? It's funny you say that. So, shortly after I came out, I think like basically when I came out, I had an old friend that reached out to me, and he's like, he's a gay man. He lives in Ontario. We went to university together, and he said, "Sorry, I can't let you in the community until you watch Drag Race." And so I really found a part of myself in that show that for so many years had to be kind of put down. Like I saw
yeah.
this color, this honestly this femininity that I'm learning to like love about myself.
Oh,
I
yes.
saw right. I saw like a freedom. I saw a rebellion that I really
Yeah.
identified with. That's a real kind of thread in my personality. Is this kind of like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
watch me. Yeah,
I'm going to do it. Yeah.
yeah, that's right. Oh,
Hell
you think this is
yeah.
how it should be? Watch.
Hold my drink. 1 second
That's
here.
right. That's right. Oh, let me just take my errands out here.
No, it's so true. It breaks down so many constructs and so many barriers. And even within the show itself, it has progressed and grown
Oh,
because, with trans and having the first like cis male contestant, just
yeah.
so many things. And I think that I'm fucking here for it. I'm like, yes,
Me
let's break
too.
all the barriers.
That's right. I agree. So yeah, I think that those are a pretty good sum of who I am.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
love that. That's amazing. So, as we've kind of talked a little bit so far in this episode, Joey is going to be sharing his amazing, amazing story with us. There's lots of different nooks and crannies and lots of ebbs and flows we'll go through with it. I'm just excited. So let's just dive right in. Let's hear the
Let's
story and
let's
let's do
do
it.
it. Yeah. So I'm born and raised in Miramichi. I grew up in like a not great home environment. Honestly. Yeah, mom pretty physically emotionally abusive, dad neglectful. So
Mm,
starting out not great with my parents, raised super religious. Like
yeah.
not just like Sunday school and church. Like we're talking like Sunday school, church, Sunday evening service, Wednesday evening prayer meeting, Thursday night Bible club, Friday night youth group. Like
All the church,
we
all the
were
things.
yeah. So um I grew up doing that for um basically my entire growing up life.
Yeah.
Um, as I was like kind of preparing my thoughts around my timeline, one of the things that I thought was important to mention was I remember being very young, like we'll say 5-ish, and I remember realizing that oh, boys are supposed to like girls because it
Right.
was like right from very young. I was sparkles. I was
Yes.
oh, there's a tube of lipstick. I'm gonna put that on and like prance around and
I
like
love that.
I was like in like my grandmother's heels and like I was a sparkly, honestly, I was a
Yes.
fruity little boy and it scared my family. I remember my grandfather saying to my grandmother one time, "You're gonna turn him queer," and it's like, well, too late, kind of. So
Not how it works,
that's
sorry.
exactly. But I remember there was a time when I was very young where I realized, oh, wait, I'm supposed to like girls. And, right from that early age, having to work kind of against
What
myself.
felt natural, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And so get to your teen years. I started to kind of realize I really do like boys. And um, I actually started coming out at 15. And which actually, so do you know what year we met?
I don't remember the year. I have a bad concept of time. I just know
It's
it was a really long
it
time
was a
ago.
long time ago. So we met in 2002 in grade 9.
2000. Okay, grade 9. I knew it was high
Yes.
school, but I was like, "What grade
Yes.
was it?"
So it was 20 years ago. So
Oh
happy
my god.
anniversary.
Oh my god.
I know.
Oh my god, that just got real
That
quick.
is right, right. I'm
God.
like seeing like my light highlighting this wrinkle that doesn't go away now.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
20-year happy
20 years.
anniversary.
Cheers to that. So in grade 10, actually, I practiced coming up to a couple of people. So one of them was actually Amanda Johnson, um,
Yes.
who I love. I will give her a shout out right now. She is
Yes.
just one of the most special, amazing humans, and I'm singing at her wedding next year. And
Stop. Oh my
I know,
god.
I'm so excited. So, over
I'm
MSN
already getting
Messenger,
teary-eyed. I'm like,
I
"Woo."
know it's so special. Just wait, because like she circles back in.
Oh my
So
god. I'm so
I
excited.
yeah. So I over MSN, I came out to her. I came out to Courtney, who actually ended up becoming my wife.
Yes.
And so I started that process. Started like breaking away from my parents a little bit, gaining some independence there, and then when we were in grade 11, gay marriage was legalized.
Yes.
And I was out to like a few close people around me,
Mhm.
maybe like a handful of people. And um, my dad that day, who just like so deeply religious, so rigid,
Mm.
he sat my brother down the way I remember it in my head. And maybe he didn't sit us down, maybe it was over supper, but he sat us down and he said, "If you want to put me in an early grave, just tell me you're gay."
Oh my
and
god.
and I was like, "Woo, I'm not about to do that." So woo, I took it all back,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, and just did like a deep dive into church because they had the solution, right?
Of course, right? I'm
Yes,
eye rolling for anyone who's not
yes,
watching. Huge eye roll.
yeah, 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 yeah. But and then I spent the next, if I was 17 at that point, I spent the next 14, 15 years really trying to do everything that I was supposed to do to have this thing that had been, called this disease, this affliction my whole life, to have it healed in me. And, what do you know at 17? You don't know a whole lot. And so,
No, my god.
and
Oh
you
my
think what the world
god.
looked like in 2005 is very different than it looks in 2022.
So freaking different. Like it's wild.
Yes. And so, like the same possibilities weren't
No,
around.
no,
I didn't have the same examples to look to.
no.
I
Social
remember,
media wasn't a thing. Like Facebook, I think maybe was just starting. If not, it was
no,
2006 for sure. But
yeah,
like, you
YouTube
know,
wasn't even a thing. So
yeah,
like, yeah, iPhones weren't a thing. Girl, we
yeah.
old.
MSN Messenger. Hello.
MSN Messenger. That's right. And if you had high speed, you were one of the
ICQ.
lucky ones. ICQ. Uh
Oh yeah.
oh.
Oh my god, the nostalgia right now.
I would love to log into my old ICQ account and just see what's there if
Oh
it
my
if it
god.
still exists.
Right? Oh my
Yeah.
god. I'm like, or what was
Flashback.
my status or like what was my
Oh
name on there?
gosh. Mine was Singer Boy Joey. I thought
Oh
I was
yes.
all of that.
Yes. I
Oh gosh. So toward the end of grade 12, me and Courtney we were really good friends. And
yeah.
when you're heavily involved in church world, there's really no space for a boy and a girl to just be friends. And so, we both really did what we were supposed to do.
Yeah.
And we started dating, we went to university together, we were able to survive 4 years of university. And so after that, we got married. And all this time, I'm thinking, like, okay, God, if I take one more step, maybe this is when you'll make this
This
go away. And then,
yeah.
you get married, and then you have one kid, and then you have another kid, and then you get the mortgage and all this. And
All the societal things that we're
all the
I
things,
air
yeah,
quotes supposed to do, right?
yeah. And this whole time getting more and more involved in church and trying to become a more, you know, faithful person. And when I couldn't make the gay stuff go away, it would be having people like pray over me to like rebuke it out of me. Or I'm so thankful that I've never been to like full conversion therapy, because I
You're
have
in my
friends that have
brain.
been.
I was
Yeah,
literally just wrote that down. I was gonna ask you that. Wow,
yeah.
okay. Please
No,
elaborate. Yeah.
yeah. So I haven't been to like a full conversion counselor in air quotes experience. I have friends that have been. Actually, I met up with one last weekend, and he shared his
Oh my
story with me,
God.
and it just like it broke my heart. Here in New Brunswick,
Wow.
let me just put a little like
Yeah.
there
Let
are
us have it.
there are counselors everywhere, including in New Brunswick, that are still currently offering conversion therapy. They changed the name because it's
Stop.
illegal. So now it's reparative therapy.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
Oh
I'm
my
serious.
God.
Yeah, I know. I know. So this still exists.
I'm
And
gonna
I think it's,
cry right now because like it's so fucking damaging. And why are you
yeah,
trying? I'm getting so emotional. I'm sorry, but
yeah,
I don't understand ever why someone wants to change another when it's just who they are. It's just who they want to love and who like it's who you are. That's it. Like I just
yeah.
that really gets
It's,
me.
yeah. I think the mindset that sends that motivates parents to send kids to conversion therapy. You know, my friend was sharing he got sent at 10 years old. My
10. Oh my
daughter's
God.
10. He was
Yeah.
sent, you know, and it exists. But I think the spirit in which kids are sent to conversion therapy is
Yeah.
what it is.
Oh, totally.
Parents, I can't tell you how many times I've heard in church that the spirit of homosexuality, the sin of homosexuality, the disease of homosexuality, and so it's this thing to be feared, and um, it's talked about as almost like one of the unforgivable sins sometimes.
Yeah, it's like so much shame, and shame
So
is
much
like such a
shame.
gross feeling. Like
It
it's
is,
just,
and it's
yeah,
funny. I'm hoping we'll get to talk about shame because I
yeah,
think it's a really important part of how I've grown and how I've come to understand the world as part of
yeah.
my coming out and as a therapist.
Hmm.
But I think what it is people are so afraid of what comes after this life that they forget to live for this life. You
Yes.
know,
And like
and
the
I
way I
think
see the world, it's gonna be beautiful no matter what comes next. It's we are
mm,
good, beautiful souls. We're nothing but beautifulness is waiting for us. Like that's it.
yeah, yeah. I'm getting to that point in just the spirit of like vulnerability here, because I know that's what this space is.
Yes.
um I really struggle with spirituality still.
Totally
you know
understandable. I feel
it's
like you had a traumatic experience, and that's
I did.
tough to
um
overcome.
yeah. So Maxine, your friend
Yes.
who has been on your podcast, and the
Yes.
episode is like, oh, anyway, we could spend the full time just talking about Maxine. But
Yes. She
she was
gets so many
here,
shout outs. She's
doesn't
like, "Where
she?
are my royalties?"
Rightfully so.
Right?
Yes. But she was here a couple of weeks ago, and I find when I'm with Maxine, I just want to be quiet. I just want to listen. I want to take it in because there's so much wisdom there,
So
um,
much.
so much. But she was speaking about just her spirituality and her connection to just like higher power. And I'm sitting there, and
Yeah.
I shared like, how do you how's it possible to engage with that when prayer has been used as a weapon against you?
Yeah.
You know, but it's funny because the universe is really, it will not stop bringing this to my face. Even
Interesting.
today with one of my clients, we're doing sorry, I'm on quite a rabbit trail. Is that okay right now?
Honey, this is the
I
squirrel
know.
brain central, so let's go. I'm
I
here for
live.
it.
I live. So I had a client today, and he had a pretty traumatic childhood where he always had to be in survival mode, and he didn't get to learn to differentiate between big emotions, and so he has a really
Yeah.
hard time understanding the difference between like anger and excitement. And so he looked at me and he's like, okay, I just need a frame of reference. So like, can you tell me like what things like are exciting for you? Like what does it feel like? What are you chasing when you feel something exciting? And I was saying like the things that like really fill my cup that feel good for me are good conversation, deep meaningful connections, and
Yes.
music. Basically it's anything that like the the sum is more than, or the total is more than the sum of the parts. We're like,
Yeah.
we have a choir and a group of people that are singing together and all their voices are beautiful, but what they make together. And so I'm
Oh,
speaking like that.
yes.
And
Yes.
he looks at me and he's like, you speak like a really spiritual person. And I was like,
Interesting. interesting.
Okay, universe, I'm trying to
I
listen,
see
but I'm
you.
scared. Yeah, yeah. I wish I
Yeah,
could
it's
see it would make it easier,
oh my
but
god, it's interesting talking about the universe and lessons and things like that, like, in my own journey too. It's just so interesting when things keep appearing and popping up, and it's like, "You're gonna deal with me, and I'm gonna keep showing you in different ways until it clicks or until you surrender or until whatever." And, it's so interesting, and I love hearing those stories because it's like, it's such a powerful thing.
yeah, and I think I spent so long in church world and so long needing to not even microdose, but like macrodose this perspective, this really
Yeah.
rigid, because by the time I was in my late 20s, I was honestly like, girl, I had it made. I had arrived. I had the beautiful wife, the
Mhm.
two super charismatic kids, the big house with the attached
Yeah.
garage on the big lot. I had a great job. Like it it
Like,
was
on paper, it looks
on
perfect.
paper. And
Yeah.
I don't want to do a disservice to it because it was not a terrible life, except
No.
I was a mess because I could no longer keep up the character.
Yes,
And
the
so
mask, the facade, yes.
yeah. And so the switch really came when I started my master's in social work because
Yeah.
at that point something had to give in my life. Two kids, I was still working full time, I was doing school part time. So I actually took a step back from church a little bit.
Mhm.
I was a worship leader, so I was leading the music at my church, and I just needed to take a break to make room for school.
Yes.
And it was amazing how quickly not getting that dose of that perspective, all of a sudden just the whole house crumbled. and
Wow.
and like it was weeks, and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't keep this in anymore. This,
Mhm.
this, I can't present this character. And it was really amazing because so much of what we learn in social work, so many of the social work perspectives are so not conflicting with Christian values, but the corner of Christianity that I'd found myself in was really at odds with these perspectives that I was learning in school that resonated
Mhm.
so loudly within me. And
Yeah.
so it felt like a really natural decision to step back from this. But then when I step back from this has enormous consequences because,
Right.
here I am going home to someone who, is I should have just been allowed to be her best friend. And here we are kind of in this. And
Yeah.
so I spent the better part of a year always riding the edge of a panic attack.
Oh my
And
god.
and I honestly I found pills and spent, you know, better part of a year popping pills, sneaking pills,
Numbing.
numbing
Yep.
it down.
Yeah. Just
And
trying
I
to
had
quiet that noise. Yeah.
That's it. That's it. And so I remember it was in the summer. We had just moved in. I guess we had been in our house for about a year.
Mhm.
And I was standing at our kitchen island taking, like, honestly, probably like my fifth or sixth benzo of the day, like just
Wow.
sneaking them when someone wasn't looking, popping another one. And I
Yeah.
had this out of body experience. And I saw myself, I saw my body. And the thought that came to my mind was, Joe, if this is 31, what does 51 look like?
Wow.
Hmm.
That's
And
powerful.
so in that moment, I made the commitment to myself to be like, the next time it feels natural to share this with Courtney, you have to share it with her, because you have to
Yeah.
remember I already came out to her in high school.
She
And
knew,
so
yeah.
she knew. And so every 8 months, every year, it would come up, and I'd be like, no, 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 it's like, whatever I had to say to get out of the conversation.
Yeah.
And at that point,
Avoiding.
I was a master of staying ahead of the conversation, right?
Yes.
Because I never wanted to actually have to face someone being like, well, what do you believe about like gay rights, or marriage equality, or trans rights? Because I knew what I believed, I knew who I was, but I also had this life. Um,
Yes.
so around that time that I made the decision to like, okay, the next time it naturally comes up with Courtney, I have to be honest because I can't keep going down this
Oh,
path.
yeah, and having those
Um,
conversations is so tough. Like, having any
hmm
kind of conversation that's somewhat uncomfortable, I struggle too. It's so hard because I have to, like,
hmm
psych myself up. I'm like, "Okay, I got this.
yeah,
I could do this." It's just it's like that stagnation, right? It's like when you're I don't wanna say comfortable in a
hmm
luxurious way. I say we live in comfort sometimes, but it's not serving us. Like, we're just
yeah,
stuck, spinning our
yeah.
wheels. And it's those tower moments that have to happen for the
Mm.
most beautiful stuff to be like, well, bam, you did this.
Here
You
it
were
is.
brave. And here it is. Yeah.
I know. And so it was around that time that I was actually talking with my current partner, Robert.
Yes.
We met because we had worked together and become good friends. But when we first started chatting, and sexuality came up, and he said that he didn't want to label himself because he didn't like labels, didn't
I
like
get that.
the baggage that comes with the word gay.
Yeah.
And it's been really amazing to watch him through the course of our relationship really own that part of who he is. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm really proud.
It's like you
Yeah,
guys had your own separate journeys, but also together. I love that.
very much. And he said to me around the time that I was really struggling, he said like, how long how long do you think you can live in cognitive dissonance like this? And I was like, there's a
Ooh.
word for the people.
Yeah,
So
it is.
so um So it took about 4 months for it to come up naturally. And
Okay.
so it was November 8th, November 9th, the middle of the night in there, 2019. House full of guests, because why not, right?
Of course. Yeah.
But there's no perfect time to kind of rip the floor out from someone's life.
It's true.
Middle of the night, I finally worked up the courage and I said, Court, I can't pretend anymore. I'm gay. And
Mm.
I, oh, she looked at me and she said, I'm so proud of you.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And then we spent 2 months kind of disoriented.
Navigating that,
What is
yeah.
this? What does this mean for us? Do
What
we
a
stay to
beautiful woman. Oh my god, that's like
truly?
mm,
Yes. Yes. And so we spent 2 months kind of disoriented. Like, do we stay together? Do we have an open relationship? What does this look like? And then
yeah.
it like pretty quickly it was like, no, this isn't how this works. And so,
Mhm.
we made the decision to not stay together, and I still hadn't really come out to anybody at that point, because I had 7 people that I wanted to tell to their face before they saw it on Facebook.
Absolutely.
Um, and so, kind of in that purgatory time, Robert and I officially started dating because I'd spent, a little bit of time talking with Courtney around like, well, do I just like date casually? And girl, you can imagine what the gay community is like in Miramichi.
Yeah.
It's just people who really were looking for something different than I was looking for.
Yeah.
And so finally, I was just kind of like, well, I got this really good looking guy who I really do. We had
So
brilliant
handsome,
conversation, like, right?
right?
Mm-hmm. I know.
Mhm.
I know. Lock that down. Anyway,
Yeah.
so we started dating in January of 2020, and I came out to my parents in February, and Courtney was with me when I did that, and um, so we were at a rehearsal for the band that we were singing in, and they were keeping our kids, and so I came home, and obviously Courtney was there, and I popped in that van and sat down, and we sat my parents down and said, "Hey, we have to tell you something. We're splitting up." And my parents were like, "What? What? Why?" And my mom, who like I want to just like color this moment by like I'm not close with my parents.
Mhm.
Never was. Like growing up was like horrific. But
Yeah.
they were really good grandparents, and so we anyway. So they were keeping the kids and said, "Hey, we're breaking up." And my mom asked why, and I was like, "I'm gay." And my dad just went red, and he stood up, and he said like, I have to leave. And when he walked by me, he put his finger on my face and he said, you broke my heart.
Oh my god.
Yeah. And so
Wow.
and he hasn't looked me in the eye since. So
Wow.
yeah,
Oh
it's
my
been
God.
2.5 years. So
Mhm.
anyway, it's a weird experience, I'll be honest. Coming out and having nothing but just the most amazing reactions, but then having your
Yes.
parents be the one to reject you.
Oh, and that would be so challenging to navigate, right? Because it's like
Mhm.
the people who birthed you and like should be your number one, and to
Yeah,
not have that support.
yeah.
It's so
There's
challenging.
I say it sometimes in therapy, like there's no place in the human brain for rejection. And so it's been an interesting journey. I grieve a lot of what should be.
Yes,
Um,
of course.
yeah. So anyway, fast forward a couple of months after that, so I came out to my parents February 21st. And then the next month, COVID hit,
Oh my
which
God, yeah.
right? Which kind of put a halt on everything, which was nice because I had a bit of time to like, okay, the people around me know
Yes.
the Miramichi rumor mill was like in full swing at this point because word had gotten out, mostly from my
Right.
grandmother who outed me to every single person that she
Of
could find their
course.
phone number to,
Oh my gosh.
and not in a good way. Pray for him,
No.
pray for him. He's lost
Oh.
his way. We've reconciled a little bit lately, but
Okay.
so then I came out publicly in June,
Yes. Tell
and
everyone
I
how, because you did it in
yes.
the most, I said this earlier. I was like, it was the most poetic, beautiful thing I've ever seen. And I can still remember seeing that first post and my heart literally exploded. I was so
Oh,
happy. I was just like, yes, live your truth, own your truth. So excited. So, yes,
oh,
I won't
thank
go too far.
you.
I'll let you share.
Yeah. So, well, let me share a bit of the reason why I came out the way I did.
Yeah.
I felt an enormous amount of pressure to justify why now? Why at
Mm.
31 with the wife and the kids and the house and the career and just
Mhm.
why mess with that? And so and also like what's this big about face? Because weren't you like the big the Christian worship leader? And so
Yeah.
I really felt a lot of pressure to justify why now, but also I want people to know, and I still want people to know the weight that queer people have to carry.
Yeah.
It's one thing to look around our world now and be like, yeah, it's a safe place for everyone to come out and be themselves, and
Mm.
yeah, it's safer, it's better,
Safer. That's better.
safer,
Safer. Yeah.
safer. I agree to that, but I have so many experiences and so many pivotal moments that um, that shaped my decision to really try and be something I wasn't. And I
Yes.
wanted people to have the context for, yeah, why now?
Yeah.
And so you know, over over kind of the purgatory COVID time, I just wrote these stories out, and there are stories of my family. There were stories of my marriage. There were stories from church. There
Yeah.
were stories of important people that had pivotal, pivotal moments
Roles.
with me,
Yeah,
pivotal
yeah.
roles. Um, and so, every Friday for, I think I only did it for 7 weeks. I have a bunch more that I haven't shared. Um,
Wow.
I know, but yeah, for 7 weeks, I shared probably the most important stories.
Yes.
Um, and the feedback was wild, like
Oh,
wild.
yeah.
And after 7 weeks of this, I just felt so vulnerable that I was like, I gotta stop. And
Take a
some
little
of the
break, yeah.
yeah, and some of the feedback that I was getting was like, especially from church people, was getting like nasty.
Oh,
I just had to kind of like whew, slow down a bit because I felt so vulnerable. That was such
yeah.
a scary time for me.
Oh my
Um,
God, as it would be, because you're literally exposing your soul to the world. And I think it's amazing and I have so much respect for it. I'm like fucking here for it, of
yeah,
course.
yeah,
But I understand as well when you share such deep, vulnerable things that you have had to, stuff down for your entire life, it is like it not only affects the mind, it affects the body, the soul, everything. You're probably exhausted after that, I would
I was,
imagine.
and
Yeah.
it was so funny. The experience of saying the words "I'm gay" took me probably a year to get used to saying. The first couple of
Yeah.
times that I said it to people, so those 7 people that I came out to in person, every time I said it, I like the blood would drain from my face. I'd break out in a sweat because it was this part of me that I had been at war with
Mhm.
my
And so much
entire
shame was
life.
created around it. And like I just know from my own experiences in life, whenever shame or guilt was like centered around something, that is some of the most challenging stuff to deal with because the people who preach this at you make you think you're wrong or make you think you're dirty or you're doing something that you shouldn't. And it's like, no, that's not right, actually. And then when you
Mm,
finally get to your adult life and you can be like, no, no,
absolutely
I am
not.
taking my power back. You are not correct in this.
Yep.
And like, well, I know I'm kind of leaning back into the church, but it baffles me. It truly baffles me how people who supposedly believe in all this higher power, how that's not love and light and beauty the way they treat other human beings. Like it's not. I don't care what anyone says, come for me. Go for it. It's not right. We are all beautiful people. You have to learn to open your mind and expand and let other like ideas and ways of life in because that's how we learn grow compassion for each other and empathy because like I'm sure you can relate to and I can as well with different areas of life we've grown, we've learned things, we've become open to things that maybe we weren't before, and that's progress, that's evolving, and that's freaking beautiful
There it
and
is.
magical.
There it
Yeah.
is. Yep. And it's so funny. So I'm leaning a bit more on me as a therapist now. But
Yeah.
you said a couple of really important words there that I want to like share how I contextualize it. So I
Mhm.
really understand life on a continuum of shame and connection
Yeah.
because shame will pull us away from people. Shame will lead us to
Yes,
hide parts of
isolate.
ourselves,
Mhm.
filter parts of ourselves. And the way that we deal with shame is with compassion.
Yeah. Oh,
Shame
yes.
can't stand up to compassion. It
Mm-mm.
can't. And
Mm-mm.
so it's so funny because as we move away from shame, the natural pull is toward connection, you know?
Yes. I'm
And
gonna cry again. I'm just like, oh,
let
it's
it out,
so
babe. You're with a
beautiful.
therapist. You're with a
Yes.
therapist.
I'm in the right
But
place.
you are, yeah, we can handle tears here. Um, that really informs my understanding of mental health too. I feel like, sorry, I'm taking us down a different path here,
Let's
but
do it.
I really think that we do a disservice to the human when we treat mental health as a deficit first. So
Yes.
when we start with a diagnosis or with something wrong with us, I truly, at my core, with everything that I am, believe that basically all mental illness is some form of disconnection.
Yeah.
Whether we're disconnected from ourselves, whether we're disconnected from others, whether we're
Mhm.
disconnected from purpose, and the ways that we've had to adapt our lives to manage that disconnection is
Yeah.
what that book would call a mental illness.
Oh my God. I am freaking here for what you just said. Cause like it's so true. When you are out of alignment and not focusing on what truly is for you, that's when that stuff happens. I'm doing like a mental note of my own life because I've had my own struggles with like depression, anxiety, that kind of thing. And it's, oh, well, some trauma, of course,
Hmm.
but sometimes it was exactly what you just said, not being connected to me and
Hmm.
or whatever the case may be. But oh,
Yeah.
yes. I'm like,
Yeah.
yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. I guess I've just seen it in my life that when I've been treated as, inherently sinful, I couldn't grow into my best self.
Yeah.
When we treat people as, a mental illness first or a diagnosis or whatever,
Mm,
it doesn't help them. I see so many people
no.
come in and they're convinced that, there's something wrong with them and I'm like, "No, you're exactly who you needed to be from what
Yes.
you've been through."
Yes, that served you at one time, that protected you. That's what was going on with the fight,
Yep.
flight, fawn, freeze, like, right?
Exactly. And the thing with our nervous system is it's not super complex. So if it finds something that works in one environment, baby, it's going to copy and paste, even if it
Yes.
doesn't copy and paste
Oh
cleanly.
my God. And me even deconstructing some of the things that happened before that are not happening now, but it's like to work through that. Oh my God, it is a journey for sure.
It is a journey because when we're leaning in on our stress response, when we're in survival mode, our smart brain is powered down, you know?
Yeah.
Our smart brain takes a lot of energy to run. And when our
Mhm.
nervous system feels like it's in danger, needs to survive, we don't need our smart brain. We don't need creativity. We don't even need language. We
Yeah.
need to survive. So it takes
Yes.
all that energy that normally powers that part of our brain and directs it to
Whew.
fight
The
or flight
body. Oh
to
God,
the
and I hate
body.
it. And I can know, like, it took me a while to learn the difference because sometimes I was like, okay, is this my intuition or is this my trauma? And most of it, like, I know now what feels like trauma is the most gross feeling in my body. It's like heart's racing, breathing gets heavy, can't make good decisions, like, I want to throw up. That's trauma brain.
Yep.
And like intuition is a beautiful feeling. It's like boop, it's like so instantaneous. So it's
Yeah.
I love that you said that. That it makes it make sense because it does take all that and it's like let me just throw up in your body all these things, all these this power.
That's exactly what it is. And it's so funny because people that experience especially early trauma, they their first language, their default is this survival mode.
Yeah.
And so then it becomes how do we practice peace? How do we
Yeah.
practice stillness? How do we build up our tolerance for that?
Totally. Oh my God. Oh, so much yes. I'm getting like this is the
Yeah.
best conversation ever. You know, you were saying you love deep conversations.
Yeah,
Same here. I'm like
I
so
know you
here for
do.
this. Yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Like so much truth bombs being dropped right now. Like I'm just like
It's
breathing all of this in. It's amazing.
yeah, I truly believe that connection is just the foundation of health. Like,
Oh,
you know,
yes.
and that's
I'm like gonna
my
write
quote.
that down.
Maybe
Yes.
that's my quote for the end of the show.
This is the
Yeah,
quote.
yeah.
Oh my God. I
Connection is
believe
the
that.
foundation of health.
And it's
Yeah.
so true because like it's just it further goes back to sorry, I was like, I can't multitask. We're trying to write that down and talk. Can't do that. That wasn't gonna work, but it's true. Like, and I notice here, this is just an example, but being in Vancouver, there is a very large homeless population. And I am so intrigued by these people because I'm like, what is your story? I'm like, how did you like, because they, every single one of them has a story and they are a human and maybe they do deal with addictions and things, but that doesn't, like you said, it's not who they are. It's
Mm.
just something they're processing, or maybe they're dealing with trauma. Who knows, right? Like, it's,
Yeah. It's so funny. So Gabor Mate, he is a psychiatrist actually in East Hastings out there in Vancouver. And
ooh,
he's one of like the 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 prominent thinkers on addiction. And he says that the opposite of addiction is not sobriety, it's connection.
yeah. Oh, it all comes back to
It all
connection.
comes back to connection. Everything's about
Mm,
connection. It's all about connection. And yeah, I so if we go back and we talk about our fight or flight and people that
yeah.
grow up in traumatic environments or they have traumatic things happen to them that really require quite an overwhelming stress response, especially in a sometimes a chronic way. Well,
Yes.
you get to high school and you've never really felt your nervous system slow back, and you try drugs for the first time, and imagine what a life changing experience it is to feel peace for the
Yeah.
first time.
Finally. Yeah.
Finally,
To
and
not have all those voices and demons and feelings like overtaking your entire being. Totally. Like, and
yep,
like you said too, like when they have dealt with it from such a young age, like that breaks my heart. It's just I want everyone to be able to find a baseline of peace at least for a few moments each day.
that's it.
It's not maybe attainable all day every day, but at least a few moments where you know
That's
you
it.
are beautiful and where you should be and you are enough.
Yes. Yes,
Mm.
that's right. And I when I think about people who live in addiction, I just think of the way they get stigmatized and the way they get
Yeah.
shamed and the way that they're told you're broken and you did this to yourself.
Yeah.
But what does that lead people to do? It leads them further away from people.
Isolation. Yeah, cuz like
Isolation.
we said, shame is like a gross feeling and the more people are putting that on you, it's like I'm picturing literally like a cartoon right now, someone like being like down. I'm going if you're watching, you're going to see it. I'm like going
Yep.
down, like just shoving you down further and further and further. And that's That's gross behavior on the shamer's part too.
It is gross behavior. We need to do better.
Yeah, 100%. 'Cause I feel like just the human race is so quick to judge no matter what the topic may be. It's just ridiculous. And I also
Yep.
want to hold up a mirror and be like, are you perfect? Have you never made a mistake? Or have you never, went in one direction with, like, you know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
we all need to take a step back
We
sometimes.
all do. And I think we all need to reconnect to our compassion.
Yes. Yeah.
Because,
Connection, compassion, the two C's, we like those.
well, let me blow your
Is there
mind here.
more?
So
More
there's
C's?
there are 8 C's.
Woo, yes.
I know. So this comes from a therapy modality called
Yeah.
internal family systems.
Okay.
So internal family systems understands the person as a collection of parts. So they, I'm going to do a terrible job explaining this, but basically, it's we understand people in Western world as kind of like a mono mind, which is I am anxious. I am excited. I am this. But
Yeah.
what internal family systems does is it says, a part of me is anxious. A part of me is
Yeah.
this. A part of me is that. And so when we're a collection of parts, there are certain parts that we would call managers, and they're the ones that kind of get ahead of the situation and they kind of run the show and um, they keep us from being hurt. And then we
Yeah.
have other parts which are called firefighters, and
Ooh.
they after we've done something, they're the ones that kind of like clean up the mess.
Oh my
And
god,
then
this is such a cool way to explain it. I love this.
yeah, and then there's a third quality or a third set of parts which are called the exiles, and these are parts of ourselves that have been burdened, that the managers and firefighters have to protect. And so
Oh.
the whole goal of internal family systems is to unburden your exiles and to allow what we call your self energy to lead. And so
Ooh.
think of it like you're in a car
Yes.
and you're on this journey called life. And right there, all your car is full. You got a 15 passenger van, baby, and you got all these different parts of you. And in a perfect world, you would be driving, self will be driving. But what happens is a lot of times our parts will hop in the driver's seat and be like, "Oh, I see something coming. I'm going to take us down a different path."
Truth?
Right?
Oh my god, preach. Like, you're putting so much in
Yes.
perspective. Again, I'm having flashbacks. I'm like, "Oh, I wasn't driving at that moment, was I?"
No, it was your angry part or it was your scared
Yeah.
part.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
Wow.
And so the goal of internal family systems is to be able to connect with self energy and to make sure that self is driving.
I
And
love
so,
that.
right. And so it doesn't mean that the other parts aren't there. We're not trying to get rid of anger. We're not trying to get rid of
Yeah.
excitement. We're not trying to get rid of anything. But what it is these parts are allowed to advise us, but self still makes the decision. So if
Mm.
anger, I keep anger in my passenger seat. Anger, I feel I have a lot of capacity for anger and intensity. And I
Yeah.
love anger in my passenger seat because anger is always going to be watching. They play a great playlist. They're a great DJ.
Yes.
But when anger wants to take the driver's seat because they're like, look, you see what's coming? You see what's coming? I can be like, thank you. Thank you for showing me that that's there. But I promise where we're going is safe. Let me drive. And I
Oh,
do it
I
even if I'm
love
angry.
that. Okay, I feel like even in myself, I wanna say those words, "Let me drive."
Let
I
me drive.
know, and you get it as a feeler as well, like, especially empathic people. It's sometimes the feelings are so frickin' strong in my body, I have to work double time to be like, "No, no, no, honey, you're not gonna take over today." Like,
Hmm.
I'm in the driver's seat.
But think about how much easier it is when you have that understanding of like
Yeah.
this is not all of me. Like I am not
Yes.
angry right now. A part of me is angry right now.
Mhm.
Right?
Mhm.
It's so much less
100%.
total. You
Yeah.
you have to surrender much less to it.
Yes, and it's like
So
also too going back to our shame talk, I think it takes the shame away from having those feelings because sometimes we are ashamed to feel things and I'm like, "No, feel it, then you can bless and release it and then it's,
lesson release,
process."
baby. I
Right?
love
Like
that.
I love that so much. The parts, anyone listening, take for if anything from this, you are
Mm,
not one thing. We're
we're
all
not one thing.
multifaceted. Yeah.
We contain multitudes.
So many multitudes.
Yes. And the
We are
thing with
magical beings.
ain't we though? Yes, we are. We are colorful, sparkly
Yes.
beings.
Yes, all
Uh,
the sparkles.
it's so good. And so, in internal family systems, I think going back to your shame piece, what it does is it really does allow us to understand, oh, there was a part of me that was protecting me. Why would I
Yeah.
shame that? I love that. This part of me,
Right?
it overshoots the mark, but wow,
Yes.
its intention is pure.
Okay, I love that because I feel very protective of people I care for, and I can relate that to myself so much better. I mean, I think I'm gonna work these things in seriously with
Yeah,
myself because that is a beautiful thing. It's like, actually, I love you. Like you just said, I love you. Like, thank you for trying to protect me. But let's take it down a few notches there, hun. Like
that's right.
you're a little excited. Put your hoops
Thank you
back
for the
on.
advice. Put your
Yeah.
hoops back in, baby. They look cute. You need them.
Yeah.
But
I love
that's
that.
that's that's what it is. It's allowing ourselves to be like, thank you for bringing that to my attention, because
Mm,
emotions and thoughts are just information. They just
yes.
tell us something about the world around us. But
Yeah.
ultimately, we get to decide how we engage with that. So if anger's
Yeah.
telling me, yeah, you know what they're going to do, or yeah, they did that, okay, thank you for letting me know. I appreciate that advice. I'm still going to lean into connection. I'm still going to lean into vulnerability, because that is the magic of life.
Yes.
And
Oh
so,
my God. Yes.
yeah. And so those those qualities of self that are able to make that decision to be able to stay in the driver's seat, they look like curiosity. They look like compassion. They look like connectedness. They look
Oh
like
my God. Yes.
calm. And when you are tapped into that essence, when a decision comes from one of those qualities, we can
Yeah.
trust it to be from capital S self.
Yes! I literally wanna scream right now. I'm so
Let it
excited.
out,
I'm like,
baby.
"Yes!" Oh, deafen everyone. My mic's like, "Girl, stop. Please stop." Seriously, though, I love that, and I swear I say this every time. These episodes always happen for me when they should because I am so going to apply that. And
Hmm.
it's like sometimes I think logically I might know things, but I've said this before. It's how it's said sometimes or who says it. And it finally like just makes sense in your
Hmm.
brain. You're like,
Yep.
there's my aha moment for the day.
But you also have to be at the place where you're ready to receive it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's
Yeah.
so funny, I find with this journey, this healing journey, sometimes I'm like, I still don't seem to get it. Cause like in
Yep.
my head, I'm like, I know, but it just
Yep.
doesn't mean my body has caught up to that or whatever the case
That's
may
right.
be. But I think that's
That's
so
right.
interesting.
So if you're interested in knowing more about internal family systems, there's a book, like a really accessible, easy read book that came out just
Yeah.
last year called No Bad Parts,
Ooh, I love that.
by a guy that created this modality.
Okay,
So
cool. I'm gonna
yeah.
write that down. I love that so much. And like that's just such a beautiful way to approach life, to approach people. And it really just brings it back to so much that I already do believe in. Like compassion is one of the most beautiful words to me. Like I
I
just love
agree.
that word. It's and just the meaning behind it. It just really I think our world in general needs more of that. I'm like it shouldn't be about the money, greed and power. It should be about loving each other.
Okay, listen. So earlier when I was writing down adjectives for my bio, I literally wrote, I'm like, I don't know how deep I'm allowed to get, or how like, but I
Let us
literally wrote,
have it, honey.
I literally wrote anti-capitalist. Like
Right?
I can't. I'm over it. I'm done. It's like it exploits people.
Yep.
It devalues people, and it doesn't work.
It
Literally,
doesn't serve
like,
humanity at
it doesn't.
all.
And so let me give an example. So last week, every single client that came into my office, and we talked about this as a clinic, the other therapists had the same experience. Everyone that came in their office was like, I'm so tired this week. And we as humans have this arrogance where we believe that we are disconnected from nature. We believe that we're above it. We believe that we have the tools to, right? We're
I am
not.
like a nature queen. I'm like,
Yes,
let's
I
go
know you
lay in the
are.
grass. Let's.
Yeah.
I'm like, preach it, Joey, preach it.
But girl, what is nature telling us right now? It's telling us that hibernation is coming. It's telling
Yeah.
us to slow down. But what is our
Mhm.
world telling us? School
Go more,
starts, dance
harder,
classes start,
faster.
hockey starts, harder, faster, right? And so people are living in this dissonance of, this instinct in me is to grab a blanket and to to preserve myself. But then this capitalist world is still trying to extract my productivity from me.
Oh,
And it
yes. They're
no
the way
wonder
you
you're
say
tired.
stuff, I'm like, "Yes." Oh, it's so true. It's exhausting. And
Yes.
there's no off button. It's like they don't no rest. It's
No
what is
rest.
that saying
No rest
everyone
for the
used to
weary.
say? Yeah, and like, it was about a hustler. I don't know, like no days off and things like that. And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Fuck that. I'm
Why
gonna
are we
curl
proud
up
of
with my
that?
blanket." That's it, right?
Like,
Like, it's
why?
so disconnecting. It is not
So
connection, like,
it is not.
at
And
all.
one of the things that I hope to grow in is being able to do more things from rest instead of for
Yeah.
rest.
Yes. Oh my
You
god,
know,
yeah. I love
we
that.
we have this idea in, Western colonized society where we have to earn our rest.
Yeah,
We have to earn so much. We have to earn our worth. We have to earn our rest. And I'm so fed up with it. People
right?
are inherently worth everything. They are worth kindness. They are worth dignity. They are worth their basic needs. They are worth more
Yes,
than their basic needs. And we have to stop treating people differently because they haven't earned it. What does that even mean? What is
exactly.
what does the saying cost of living mean?
Right,
That's
right.
bullshit.
It is
Cost of
full on
living.
bullshit. We're here to live. It shouldn't matter. Like, it just the power that money has, and it's just insane to me.
Yeah, I know. So that's my little anti-capitalist rant. So
Yes,
thank you
yes,
for
here for
tuning
it.
in.
Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
TED Talk. Yep.
I love that. I want to circle back to I was just thinking there's a couple things I want to touch on. But you were saying like the story with Amanda looped back. I want to know how does
Yes.
it loop back?
So when I had to like basically take back my coming out at the end of high school,
Mhm.
I was so ashamed. And basically I kind of ghosted her a little bit.
Mm.
And I mean it again, I was ashamed, so I pulled away from connection,
Isolation, yeah.
right? She was one of my best friends and just
Yeah.
like went from literally chatting all the time to nothing. And I wish that wasn't in my past, but
Yeah.
anyway. So when I came out, she sent me just the most beautiful message. And we went out for supper and Robert, my partner, came.
Yes.
And anyway, I can't remember the exact words she said, but like I basically apologized to her. At least I did in my mind. If I didn't in real life, Amanda, I'm sorry. But she said, yeah, I I always knew, and I always just kept your secret, and I was just waiting for you to
Yeah.
check back in with who you were and to own your truth. And she said, I
100%.
just waited, and so we've been able to like really reconnect. And oh, she's just magic. And
Such an earth
what
angel, right?
listen, I love her so much.
Yeah.
And if I'm giving shout outs, let me shout out
Yes.
let me shout out my grandmother. So my dad's mom is my favorite person in the world, Nanny
I love
Rose.
that.
So I she was one of the people that I had to tell in person, obviously when I was
Yes.
coming out. And so
One of the
I
7.
one of the seven, and I really was careful where I came out to people, because like I did it in a way that like, well, you can't really blow up. You can't have like a big reaction. So I took my
Right.
night out to lunch to the portage. And
Yes. The public setting.
yeah. And I told her, okay, Nan, me and Courtney are breaking up. And she's like, huh? What happened? And I was like, I'm gay. And she leans across the table and she puts my face in her hands. And she said, I've always known. I was just waiting for you to tell me.
Oh my god. What an angel.
She is an angel. So
I love that. And it's so sweet, the hands and the
yep,
face.
yep.
So cute. So
She's magic.
comforting too. I love
Yeah,
that. That was just nothing but love.
yeah. That is my grandmother. She is a healthy, happy, runs the road 7 days a week, 80 something year old woman, and it's because there is not a mean bone in her body. She doesn't
That's
harbor
right.
resentment. She walks in the qualities of self, and it
Yes.
preserves her. It does. She's got nothing in her to cause bitterness or disease or anything.
Yeah.
She's just she is
She's love
the
and light.
she is. She is.
Yeah. Cause
Yep.
that's it too. When we push those gross feelings down or things we haven't dealt with, it will manifest in the body. It'll make you sick. I'm not going to say what it'll do exactly because we're all
Yep.
different, but it'll do
Yep.
things to you for
Yeah.
sure.
I remember that year that I knew I was gay, knew I couldn't fake it anymore, but like also didn't want to like ruin Courtney's life and my kids' lives. Um, I I don't know how I came across the information, but basically, um, I so I'm a singer, and
Yes.
I remember thinking if I don't speak my truth, something's gonna happen to my voice.
Yeah. The throat chakra. Yeah.
Yeah. So that that was another kind of like chip at the foundation.
Oh,
Um,
for
because I
sure.
truly believe that. Like I know I'm not great at listening to my body. I spent my entire life disconnecting from the things that felt right in my body. So
Yeah.
I'm very much on the beginning of a journey of becoming re-embodied.
Yeah.
Um, but my back will always force me to rest if I'm not resting.
Mm.
Always. And so our
Mhm.
body knows what we need.
Always. And it's like it's so funny you say that because it's so true. Like, and if you're not resting and you keep pushing, it's gonna be like, no, I'm gonna
No.
do this to you now.
It's so true.
And that's
But
not
then
just because we're in our 30s. It's not because of that.
I know, but listen, it goes back to what we were saying a few minutes ago about how like yeah, but then we treat that as like a problem.
Yeah.
It's like something
We
we
don't
need to
look for
get
the root.
medication for. We need a surgery. We need this. We need that to
Band-aids.
fix this problem.
Yeah.
When reality, the problem is this hustle culture. It's this capitalist society that extracts all of our productivity and our resources from us. We have
Yeah.
nothing left. So our body's just like, I can't. And
I'm
that is
done.
not, I'm done. But that's not, you know, I see it so many times in my office, people that come in who are really struggling with like depression. And when you kind of
Mm.
tease apart their life, it's because gosh, they've been so productive for so long that they've got nothing left to live, or they've got
Yeah.
no friends and they've got
No
nothing to like, no
connection.
connection, and so
Mm.
their whole body's just like, I I quit.
Yeah, I don't have any like where's the joy, right? Like
That's
it's like
right.
the adrenal fatigue and the burnout. I've suffered burnout. I don't wish that upon anyone. So it's like listen to your
Mm-mm.
body before it screams at you. Like
I agree, and that's really a really beautiful way to describe kind of how I felt when I knew I needed to come out. Is my body was screaming at me, the
yeah.
anxiety, and it was so funny. As soon as the secret was out of me, I didn't need benzos anymore.
Oh my
I didn't need
god.
pills anymore. It was like almost immediate. Obviously,
Amazing.
like I still kind of reached for them sometimes, especially on like hard days. But
Yes.
like I went from like a lot of pills to like,
Mhm.
oh yeah, today's a tough day. Let me take one just to kind of get through, which is how
Yeah.
they're supposed to be used.
Exactly.
But people that are carrying anxiety, maybe what are you not saying? What are some boundaries
Yeah.
that you need? What are the ways that relationships are working against you right now?
Oh, totally. And like it's really interesting and I hope anyone listening is doing a little like reflection on your life because if you have incurred any of these things, I know for myself the whole time we talk, every time you're saying something, I'm looking back and I'm like, "Ooh, yeah." Like different relationships and places you stay, it's like I mean, divine timing is everything. It all works out as and when it should, but there's sometimes I'm like, "Man, I knew this wasn't for me for a lot longer than I actually before I took action, and my mental health or whatever exuded that. It was like I was so unhappy and not comfortable. And it's like exactly what you're saying. The body was like, hey.
Hey, hey, and it's so funny because um, our body has far more impact on our emotions and our thoughts than
Yeah.
our thoughts have on our emotion and our body. Because
Yeah.
so think about it this way: we start as a body. A baby is just a body. They are just a bundle of physical needs. Now, if you've been around a toddler, you know that toddlers are just emotions. And
Yeah.
so as we develop, we add these things on to our body, but our body then turns into emotions, which then takes on thoughts as our brain grows.
Mm.
And so if you think of it like a bullseye, body, emotions, thoughts, the direction of influence is far greater from the inside out than from the outside in, because we've been a
Yeah.
body a lot longer than we've been thoughts,
Yeah. Fuck yeah. I'm like, look
right?
at like this is just wisdom all over this episode.
Come on.
Oh my god, I'm here for it. That's amazing. It's so
Yeah,
true.
it is
So
true.
much
It is
truth.
true. It's so easy to say it, and it's another thing to embody it.
110%. I think too though, the beautiful thing is once you start to say it, that's your self-awareness. So now you're like, okay. And it's like anything, right? It's like a muscle. You have to practice certain
You have
things.
to
Like it
practice
doesn't
it.
happen overnight. And I think it's interesting to notice that different things, depending on how deeply they've affected you or whatever the case may be, might
Mhm.
take longer. And other things you
Sure.
might be like, ooh, okay, kind of
Yeah.
navigated that one a little quicker. Celebrate those wins. Celebrate any win when
Any
you're healing.
win.
Yeah.
That's right. That's
Any
right.
move forward is okay, and it's okay if you take 5 steps back after that. It's okay. You're gonna
That's
get
right.
back there. Yeah.
That's right. And to kind of go with that, taking those steps forward, those steps back, that metaphor, I think that a really compassionate way to view ourselves is we have these honestly really well-worn paths in our brains, certain ways that we think about
Yeah.
ourselves, certain postures that we take toward the world. And we've run down these paths, we've thought these thoughts millions of times. They're automatic in our brains. We don't have to, we don't work at these
Yeah.
thoughts. They happen.
Autopilot. Mhm.
Autopilot. Well, autobahn. It's the autobahn in our brain. And
Yes.
so part of what we have to do as we gain the self-awareness, as we put self in the driver's seat, is realize, okay, I can keep zipping down the autobahn and I can go fast, but I don't like where it ends up. So I have to
Mm.
I have to take a step back on this road and start carving out a path to a different direction. And
Yeah.
listen, girl, I know you grew up in the country, so you know what it's like to forge a new path in the woods, right?
Yes, I do.
Yes, you do. And so the first few times you go through a path in the woods, it's slow going. You're
Mhm.
you're knocking branches out of the way, you're pounding down grass, but then you go through the path 5, 10 times, and all of a sudden, okay, I see the path. And then, you take some tools in and you cut some brush away, and you
Yeah.
you bring maybe a tractor or four-wheeler in and you get it a little smoother, and
Yeah.
our brains are like that. And just because you build a new path doesn't mean that the old path goes away. You
That's
think how
right.
long it takes for a highway to grow over,
Yeah.
right? Forever. And so it's okay if we find we're zipping down the Autobahn again, because that
Mhm.
the Autobahn is still there. But it's when we notice,
That's right.
oh shit, I don't want to go this way anymore. Let me back up and I'm gonna take the new path. It's a
Take the
little
new route.
slower.
Yes.
It's not as comfortable, it's not as familiar, but this gets me to closer to where I want to be.
Yes, and I love too that you said about bringing the tools with you because it's almost like the things you learn in life, those are your tools. You put them in your
Exactly.
little life toolbox and they help you navigate this new route that you're
That's
taking.
right.
So,
In social
yeah.
work, we said the book, your backpack.
Yes, your
So
backpack. Okay, I
yeah.
want to make a new thing. I'm like, what do I want? My purse? What resonates with me?
What
I'm like,
resonates, girl? It's a purse, and
yeah.
it is designer.
Yes. And it has all the beautiful magical things in there.
Yes, it does.
I love that. I also wanted to touch on too, because I just think this is so amazing, is the co-parenting that you and Courtney do.
Hmm. Yes. Okay. So yeah, we co-parent so well. She's been so gracious with me. So when we decided to split up, she said, "I don't want to treat this as our family breaking up. I want to treat this as our
Yeah.
family growing."
Yes. Oh,
And
she's
so
amazing.
she is amazing. She is amazing. It for navigating separation and divorce, it has been far less painful than a lot of like most people's situations. Has it been perfect? God no. But
Yeah.
have we been able to hold a lot of grace and compassion for each other most of the
Ah,
time?
and
Yes.
that's beautiful. Oh my
Yes.
God. That's
And
what's up.
so yeah, we just we've really allowed ourselves to just become friends.
Mm,
And so we do week on, week off with the kids. And so tonight is trade night. The kids were with me this past week. They went back to her place tonight.
yeah.
And right before I logged on, I was having supper at her house.
Oh,
So
I love that.
we have a family meal together every week. We, this summer, me and Robert went to Montreal. Courtney and the kids joined us. They got to have all three of their parents there at La Ronde, and we went to an amusement park for the day together. And
That's so
it's
fun.
it is, yeah, and so we co-parent really well together. And I'm also really thankful that any decisions that one of us needs to make, usually they're pretty close to what the other would say
That's
or decide.
great.
So,
Yeah,
and yeah, it's been really I don't know what the word is, because I don't want to say it's been easy. It hasn't felt like we're swimming against a current.
that's right. And I think it's important too to note that, like, how important having that support from her would be, because you don't necessarily have it from other areas of your life, and
Mm.
she's your best friend. You guys have been best friends, you're like,
And
since you met, like.
since we met, and so a little more context. So our moms stood up with each other in their weddings. So Courtney's mom was pregnant with Courtney at my parents' wedding.
No way. Oh
So
my God.
there is
Destined.
this, yeah, so they're destined to really be connected. So there
Yeah.
is this spirit that um our relationship should have been able to be this. We should have been able to be friends. The circumstances we were in forced us to be this. We
Hmm.
navigated the pain of pulling this apart, and now our relationship looks like the friendship it probably should have always been able to be.
That's so
And
beautiful.
yeah, this process was painful.
Of
It was,
course. Even when you know
because
it's the right thing, it's still painful.
it's
It's still
still
mourning the
painful.
death of the relationship. There's so many emotions that go with a
Yep.
breakup. No matter how much you know it's for you, like you're not supposed to be with that person and you can
Yep.
wish them well, you're still
Yep.
going to go through it, honey. Oh my
Because it
God.
is a form of disconnection.
Yeah.
And humans are not good at handling disconnection, rejection, abandonment, whatever we want to say. So,
Yeah.
so we've been able to navigate that really well. I also want to shout out her family, because they've been really incredible through all of this.
Mm,
Um, where my parents have been like about as bad as parents can be, and like
yeah.
double, like my parents have like doubled and tripled down on how terrible they've been.
Mm.
Like my dad won't even like go to family dinners with his brothers and sisters if he finds out that Robert is coming.
Oh
um
my God.
yeah, it's nasty. And so I've what I haven't had with my parents, I've really gained with Robert's parents.
Mm,
And Courtney's parents have been really gracious in stepping up and filling a lot of that space. So
yeah.
like when I came out and Courtney's dad found out, I mean, how do you initiate a conversation with your ex son-in-law who's leaving your daughter because he's gay? And so what he did was he bought me a record of the first pressing of the last musical that I'd been in.
What?
And yeah, isn't
Oh
that so
my
special?
God. I
I
love
know,
that.
I know. And me and Courtney's mom, I mean, people used to think that I was her son. So we're
Very
so
close.
close. We talk all the time. And Robert's parents have really been incredible too. I mean, Robert also grew up, you know, his mom's like, well, went to the church where I led worship. And so
Yeah.
his coming out wasn't an easy process either. And so they've been so gracious with us, and they've allowed themselves to grow so much. And I live in their house now. Like I live in the granny suite on their house. And
Oh.
like I go over, I made banana bread this week and I took them over some. I used her muffin tins. Like it's like
Yeah.
it's so. And so my parents have been super shitty, but one of the beautiful things about queer existence is we get chosen family.
Yes, I
Everybody gets chosen
literally,
family.
our
I
brains
know.
are connected right now because I
Yes, they
literally was
are.
thinking that chosen family
Yeah,
is everything. Because
everything,
it
everything.
it doesn't matter. Blood me. I mean, It's great. Of course, your family, like families are
Yep,
great. I'm not taking away from that, but
yep,
it doesn't matter when you connect. That's on like a soul level. That's different. And like your
it
soul, it
is.
doesn't matter which human case it decided to go into for this
Yep,
journey. It's here, and if you connect,
yeah,
you feel that. It's natural.
totally. And like
Mm,
literally, like everybody else in my family has, like my blood family has been amazing. Like my
yes.
brother, amazing. All my aunts, like I'm staying with my aunt tomorrow. And she's coming to the Beyonce drag night with me in
Oh
Halifax.
my
Like
God, yes.
I know. So like really, aside from my parents, it has been the most liberating experience. And there's something that I've really reflected on in the coming out process. And the way I existed before coming out was I I held the chaos inside of me to maintain peace around me.
Mm,
And what coming out was for me was trading chaos inside for chaos outside. I was no
yes.
longer okay allowing myself to exist chaotically in here to keep peace around me.
Yes.
And so let me tell you, Kaylee, listeners, I would make that decision a million more times to trade peace outside and to bring it in. If the world needs to
Yes.
be chaotic because I'm living my truth, they've got work to do. That's not my
Yep.
problem.
Exactly. Oh my God, so much. Yes. And I think that is so important because our world, like, not, I'm not trying to paint everyone the same, but like, we care so much about what people think or how we appear. I know I'm guilty of it too. Like, I've definitely been working through some people pleasing tendencies, but again, I knew at one time I needed that for safety.
Mm,
But I'm not in that place anymore. I don't have to
mm-hmm,
do that. And it's
mm-hmm.
scary as hell showing up as who you are, how you are, because this is who you are. And if people have a problem with it,
Yep.
that's fine.
And
That's your
and
problem. It sounds like a you problem.
that sounds like a you problem, not a me
Yeah.
problem. But I think it's so interesting because I really I have this belief, and I have this conversation a lot in the therapy setting where I truly believe that we're just cavemen living in a modern world. And
Yeah,
so like our DNA really hasn't evolved from caveman times. We just have better tools now. Like back then we had like rocks and now we have MacBooks.
that's
So,
right.
but our DNA, these instincts that are in us really haven't evolved. And so think about what it meant
Yeah,
in caveman times. It meant that we took care of each other from birth to death. We were deeply
yeah.
connected. If I had a need, chances are everybody had the same need. If I was hungry,
Yeah.
chances are you hungry too.
We're
We
working
protected
as a
each other.
team.
We're working as
Yeah.
a team. What did rejection mean in caveman times?
You die, right? Yeah?
Rejection equals death. That
Yeah.
is wired into our DNA.
Oh my God. The wisdom keeps coming.
So our evolution didn't anticipate a day where we would get a shitty couple of words on a shiny device in our face. And
Yeah.
so when our brains feel rejection, we go into death mode. I'm about to die.
Yes.
And so that's why we as humans are always trying to figure out, do I still belong? Are these my people? I don't want to
Yeah.
be rejected. Like rejection, the experience of rejection actually is wired through the physical pain pathway in our brain. Rejection is meant to be a horribly like we do anything we can do to avoid being rejected because
Wow.
it signals death to us.
Yeah. That's
And so
so interesting.
so I hope what that does is it allows you and the listeners to have a bit more compassion for yourself. Like
Yeah.
if you go a little wild when you're scared of being rejected, that's how you're wired. We are cavemen who, if we got rejected from our tribe, we would die. Someone would eat us.
Yeah.
Something, not someone,
Yeah.
something would eat us, right? Or
Yes.
we'd freeze to death. Or, rejection in our DNA. Rejection equals death. And so
Wow.
we're always assessing to see like, am I still part of the tribe? Am I still part of this? That's why when I came
Yeah.
out, the hardest part for me was really losing my church community. These people that had helped me raise my
Mm.
kids, these people who I saw 5 nights a week, who I made music with, who I did all this with. And
Mhm.
so that was a big reason why I held on as long as I did because I didn't want to lose my tribe. I didn't want to lose my
Yeah.
community, right?
Exactly.
Thankfully, we live in a world where rejection doesn't equal death anymore. but it does take
Redirection.
redirection, but it does take reconnecting. It
For
does
sure.
take being very compassionate with yourself. It does take
Mhm.
riding that wave because our
Oh,
nervous
yeah.
system, full throttle right away, right?
Yes. 100%. 100%. And it's so interesting you're saying that because, again, what did you say earlier? Connection. It comes
Connection.
back to that, like
It's just,
always.
it's the foundation of health. It is the beginning, it
Wow.
is the end. Yep.
Wow. Oh my God. Well, I feel like that brings us to our final words of wisdom. We looped right back into that so beautifully,
What a
but
segue.
let's hear it. Yes, let's hear it.
So my final words of wisdom are connection is the foundation of health.
Oh my God. Yes. One more time. I need to hear it one more time. I'm going to absorb it.
Connection, listen up. Connection is the foundation of health.
That sounds like that needs to be in a meditation. The way you just said that, you're like, connection.
Connection. Yes, yeah, yeah. Download my app.
Yes, mindful with Joey.
Can you imagine? No, I'm far too intense for that. I probably need
Oh
it.
my God. It would be funny though. I think you would do like a really funny one. You'd be like, all right, honey, listen up.
You look good today. We're gonna
Yes.
meditate on that.
Yes. Oh my God, that would be so amazing. I am so grateful for you and for this conversation and just how you move through life and the beautiful teachings. Like what you do is like so impactful and it's shaping the world. Like your impact, it's just going to do that ripple effect to everyone. And we'll get those 8 C's and like that compassion and that connectedness and like people
I
like you, like this is your light work to me, and I'm just like it's just so beautiful, and I love connecting with people
thank
like you because it's
you. Oh, and I
you're so
received that.
important. Yes, what you do
Oh,
is
thank
so
you.
so huge, and share and
Girl,
being so
you too.
vulnerable. Oh my gosh, thank you.
Yeah, like but the like creating this space for people to really share what they've been through from the middle of it and not from the end of it when they've like, you know, got all their stuff together. It's like, no, we're
Yeah,
actually we're gonna share these stories from the middle. And
yeah,
so I love it.
100.
I
Yes.
love what you do. I
Oh,
love this platform. Thank you for including me in it.
of course, I appreciate. There's so much love right now. So powerful.
So powerful. Girl
I
power.
Oh, yes, girl power. Let's do that. Shout out to all of our Spice Girls. We love you. I'm like, so
Yes.
next guest next week, Ginger Spice. Can you imagine? Oh my God.
If that happened and I was not invited to partake,
Oh,
listen.
we're going to wear our Ginger Spice merch because you know your
Yes, we
girl
are.
has it too. And we're
I
going to be
know
like,
she does.
like, I don't even know. Like, obviously, that's like my dream manifestation of certain like celebrities, like Mindy Kaling. I'm friggin' obsessed
Uh
with her.
uh
I swear it's
amazing.
gonna happen, but I
Yes
don't
it is.
know how I'll even react because I'll be so starstruck. Like, I love you, Mindy. Like, squeeze
Yep.
me. I love you. Like, but
uh
first of all, how dare you?
right. We're gonna manifest that for you. That's
Oh, for
yep.
sure. Oh, so many
Yeah.
great, amazing people.
We're just
Yeah,
humans trying to connect.
that's right. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh, yes. Let's link your socials if you'd like. If anyone
Yeah.
resonates with Joey today and you want to reach out or connect.
I I am just Joey Dignam on all my socials. So
There we go.
there it is.
Keeping it simple.
Keep it simple. I'm a simple guy.
I like that. So, for everyone watching on YouTube, I'll have all of that linked in the description box below. I know I mentioned this before. I wasn't sure if I could link things in the podcast show notes, but I can. So, I'm going
Yeah,
to
you
start
can.
doing that. Yeah,
Look at
I was like, I'm
you.
such a learner. I'm like literally, you guys are all on this journey with me. It's a slow process of learning all the ins and outs of the podcast world, but I'm loving it. And I'm like, the point is that we're getting our message out and all those little things. I'll figure it out eventually.
Work.
So yes, I will have that linked in the show notes. If you're watching YouTube, you know the drill. Subscribe, share, like all the good things. If you're listening via podcast, give us a 5-star rating. I love to hear your feedback. And also everything will be linked on the Instagram and Facebook Tea with KG pages. So there'll be no trouble finding Joey if you want to connect.
Oh,
Oh, well, thank you so much again, Joey. This
oh,
was
my
so great.
pleasure. I love you.
I love you. I appreciate you so much. Like just you're this beautiful,
Mm,
sparkly being and I'm here for it.
you.
That's you. I'm like waiting. I'm like, where's the sparkle jacket? The one in his profile picture. I
It's
love that
it's in the
jacket.
closet, baby. I'm wearing sparkle shoes to Beyonce tomorrow night, so
I can't wait to see that outfit. Oh my God, yes, all the sparkles. All I want to see videos. I want to see all of the Beyonce
I
drag. I'm here
promise.
for it. Yes. Oh, amazing. Well, that is our tea time for today, everyone. Thank you so much, listeners, viewers, for integrating your beautiful energy into this podcast, this platform. We would not be where we are without you. And I just want to send my gratitude to each and every one of you. And we will see you next time. Bye.